With how they're playing right now, if they had just been playing this way a couple of weeks ago at the Season 2 NA Regionals, PAX Prime, and imagining them pulling out this aggressive pushing strategy and this aggressive, Katarina team that they have, pulling that out at the PAX Prime, and like people were talking about the cheese that we were going to see, no one really did anything. It was a very standard tournament for the most part. CLG did some with their pushing strategy, but if Mono had these strats at that time and we're playing like they are now, we might be seeing very different NA champions.
It could have been. It could very well have been. But
I don't remember who did they play in the first round though. That actually might have been a tough matchup, regardless of
Did they play against CLG?
I think it was CLG.
Yeah.
So who knows?
We'll take a quick look at the stats as we get in these first few bands here. Shen TF actually coming out also. Help me out.
But regardless, they do ban out that Morgana. That was the key, I think. Morgana was the very safe ban. We were talking about it
against the TSM first round.
So that's brutal regardless at PAX, like playing against TSM, even when they are playing this well. But ban out Morgana and Yorick, so they don't want to allow either of them since Yorick had been so strong at the top.
This is smart, though. This is very, really smart because Normal Stars now, they can, instead of making a tough decision, just make all of the decisions, and you're still leaving a few huge champs open. So Malphite and Jace and Alistar, all three, well, two of the three more likely going to be left open. So whatever Mono doesn't pick up here, at the very least, Normal Stars can at least get one of the huge big hitter champs. But I would highly recommend to stick with the Jace ban here, though. Jace is something that we've seen Mono play before. At the very least, you leave Malphite and you leave Alistar open. You're going to at least guarantee one of the huge, heavy CC champs. Actually going for the Rengar ban, which is also not too bad either.
I think they really need to pick up Jace if it's open. So Alistar for the first pick. Normal should probably pick up Jace in this situation because Balls, he's going to pick up the Malphite in response, and having that Malphite and Alistar will be very strong. Or, we'll see. He could go with a number of ways, but he might end up picking up that Malphite. But Jace is... does fairly well against Malphite. He does well against any lane, and you want a lane that's able to win or at the very least hold even. They don't want to allow Olaf to a situation like last game where Olaf becomes under farm. Jace usually doesn't lose farm to anyone, so that's a very safe pick. It keeps it out of Balls' hand and won't be that affected by Malphite. So they should pick that up, and the Ezreal as well. So they're going with both of them.
Good pick up on the Ezreal also.
Ooh, they can grab Nunu here though. They have so many options.
What? Teemo top lane against the Jace? Did Jace know something that we don't?
You know what? I am all for it because we've seen so many different ways that Teemo has been played in the past.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an interesting situation. You always kind of look at Teemo and think he's not strong enough for competitive play. However, we've seen Teemo support competitively. We've seen Teemo top. We've seen AP Teemo from teams recently, actually, like Moscow 5 and Fnatic. And the question is, all right, if a champion is able to play this many roles, he's clearly not, a weak champion. He's clearly has some broken design to him. And Teemo does have a number of things that are very strong about him. It seems it's not going to be support, though, because they are picking up the Janna. So we'll see where they're sending that Teemo. And if that actually might be a hold-in pick for someone, I'm not sure, but I don't think it would be. These guys have been playing the game so long that they probably have all the champions. Muffin Cutie, I have to imagine, has everything. But maybe a Teemo top. That'll be cool to watch.
Now, I'm thinking, too, does the blind negate Jace's hammer swing?
No. I'm going to say. I don't think it does. What the blind will negate, though, is the quick triple strike for Jace. And that's actually even more brutal. Because Jace, you play him kind of passively at first. You have that ranged harass with your Q. But then the key for Jace is once you hit your W, you can run at your opponent. You W in ranged form to get the quick attack speed. And then you switch to melee, and when you switch, you get that bonus damage. And real quick, you can take people like half of someone's HP with that burst. If Teemo times the blind for that point in time, his blind for that point in time, he's going to be able to shut down a lot of Jace's damage. I think the hammer will still hit, but usually you're maxing Q first, and against Teemo, the hammer's actually not going to do much damage.
Diana and Nunu being grabbed up by Normal Stars. So not quite sure where Diana or Nunu are going. Actually, either one of them can jungle. Just not quite going to be sure until the last pick is made. There is the Draven pickup once again. Worked out so well.
Mono doesn't even care.
Mono doesn't care. They just they are just comfortable with running whatever they feel like running. Yeah, and it's just a matter of grabbing up an AP mid to round out everything. Morgana is gone. I think an Orianna would actually be really nice here.
Yeah, it's kind of unusual because is it going to be an AP Teemo potentially?
Teemo mid?
Orianna doesn't really work with this team because they have the Alistar, but other than that, they don't really have a lot of initiation. But this is a very unusual team. It's really all about winning their lane matchups and just snowballing the game early. And Draven has that potential, Teemo has that potential, and Riven has that potential. So we'll see, how they do early on. Later in the game, their team fight isn't very strong. Like they will kind of struggle in team fights against normal stars if it's an even matchup. However, Teemo with those shrooms, I think it is an AP Teemo. We've seen it some recently from Fnatic. I'm looking forward to it. But those shrooms will be just absolutely devastating, and they can try and take map control. So that's the goal. They want to stall off the game as with Teemo, get the map control, and just try and bully people around. Teemo top and Alistar mid. This is happening. I am thrilled to death because yesterday we had a game set up and they were going to play Alistar mid. It was 4Not versus Troopers, and 4Not was playing Alistar mid. No!
They're still switching around. We still got 30 seconds. Anything can happen with the switches.
But yesterday, 4Not versus Troopers, they were playing Alistar mid, and I was beyond excited because Alistar mid has been one of my favorite champions in the past, and it's a strategy we haven't seen in a long time. But then we actually DC'd from the spectator mode early on in the game, so we didn't get to watch it. But we'll see where they're going with this. So it is probably going to be an AP Teemo, and it seems like that's the lockdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is going to be Teemo top. That's unusual to me to send the Riven mid.
Well, Teemo top, but Riven mid.
And I actually really like this. It's interesting because you don't see a lot of melee bruisers mid. However, that physical melee bruiser works so well against champions like Diana, melee champions mid. We've seen a long time ago Tryndamere versus Kassadin mid. How strong of a counter that was.
Well, that was a long time ago, huh?
Riven should be able to bully around Diana in that lane. Teemo could as well if they want to do the lane swap and have balls take that lane. But I'm assuming that Mandatory Cloud is going to be playing Riven mid and just try and, crush Jinte. I was trying to think of a PC way to say what I wanted to say.
Don't pull a Dyrus here.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens there. I really like some of the things that Normal Stars is doing as well, though, because Diana is a really fun champion. She's strong in lane, but she can snowball fights, and even better, she's strong in small fights. And Normal Stars, recognizing that Mono.Ferus, they're looking to spread out the map and get those small exchanges and win small team fights. Diana actually excels at that, so it kind of counters it out a little bit. It gives them some of that same strength as opposed to last game, where they really struggled in a lot of those situations.
Yeah, let's also take a look at what Smithy's running here, too, on the Alistar. A little bit of everything. You got a little bit of movement speed. You got a little bit of attack speed. Just one point in the armor pen.
I don't want to be pushing this if this is not true, but I had heard that there were some glitches recently.
There was.
With the Razor Quint, and I'm kind of wondering whether that's true still.
Not just the Razor Quint.
Not to be bad PR for here.
There's all of like the specialty runes, promotional runes, like the holiday runes. For a time, we're also going through it. So just double check all of your runes, guys. So if you do have like a holiday or a promotional,
but I'm wondering if that'll actually impact this game.
Well,
who was that again?
Well, first off, check all of your holiday runes, all of your promotional runes. Just start up in normal and make sure everything adds up. You can send a ticket to get it replaced, but that was on Smithy.
Smithy. Okay, so we'll see. We can get into the game, check what his movement speed is.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal. It's only 1.5%, but it would be kind of interesting. Yeah. But we'll see where they can go from here. They have Cho'Gath as a jungler, so he has that jungling speed still. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be sending Nunu in there. Cho'Gath, he has a little bit stronger ganks as well, but he's a very fast jungler, and that actually works out fairly well against Alistar because Alistar, he's the best ganking jungler in the game, most likely. Like he is way up there, and Cho can try and counter jungle him some or try and counter engage him, but that mid lane, Riven and Alistar mid, like that mid synergy to pick up kills, that could be brutal for Diana,
especially pre-6. Especially pre-6.
Well, and even after 6, Diana doesn't, her 6 doesn't let her dash away. It's only an offensive dash.
Yeah, it's huge. It could be absolutely huge. Just one headbutt from behind. Well, actually, even once Alistar hits 6, it's pretty much just no escape. You can just ult from behind tower, and it could be just more than a done deal. in the mid. So we'll have to see where that goes.
The real concern is those early levels, though. Getting a ward out to watch against Alistar's level 2, level 3 ganks. Just because he can, you can't expect it a lot of times. He can get out to level 2 while you're still level 1 mid, and you have really low HP is the concern. It's that your base health is just too low to survive through his combo and survive through the follow-up that someone like Riven is going to have.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
He's going to have that movement speed from Janna to make up for those Razor Quints, though.
He'll be fine. They'll be fine. Nothing too huge to write home about. And yes, your eyes do not deceive you. Balls will be playing Teemo, AP Teemo at that in the top lane to cancel out Jace. So we'll see how that matchup goes. We hear our game number 2. Mono wins this one. They move on to round of 8 to play against Fornot. If Normal Stars wants to stay in this, they need to take this one home. But it's going to be rough, man. It's going to be a very hard time, especially with the cow in the jungle. Mandatory Cloud leading the charge right out there in front. Let's get everyone arranged here.
Yeah, and I am really excited to see this AP Teemo because it's kind of interesting. AD Teemo is stronger in lane. AD Teemo, there was a point in time where AD Teemo was like the strongest laner in the game. And Rainman, he always used to say, and people who played Teemo used to say that if you played the lane right, you could not lose against anyone as Teemo in lane. Like, it just couldn't happen because Teemo could, he's just such a strong laner. You could beat anyone. And versus Jace. Jace has some harass, but Teemo's harass is stronger, and I'm not sure. It'll be interesting to see whether or not Jace's harass is going to be strong enough. But AP Teemo, you have a little bit less damage early on. You have a little bit more poke damage than AP Teemo has a little bit more poke damage than AD Teemo does because you get the blinding dart and everything. You get a huge chunk of HP from your opponent. And right now, Normal Stars, they're scared. They're just kind of running around trying to make sure they don't see Alistar anywhere, ready to surprise them.
Yeah, and once you start hitting into the late game, once you start getting like Death Cap on Teemo and just a whole bunch of other huge items, those mushrooms do so much, and it's such a good ratio on those mushrooms too. It's just it's an absolute minefield, and there's going to be an oracles required at some point in time for Normal Stars if they just don't want to die in their own jungle. It's going to be that big of a threat.
Yeah, so we'll see what kind of pressure he can put on that lane, if Jace can force him at all. Actually, Jace chasing off Mandatory Cloud. Mandatory Cloud was trying to steal the Blue Wraith, and Riven has enough damage early on where you can quickly steal it without actually losing a lot of health, but Jace doing a nice job watching that is able to throw him off a little bit, so he's a little bit behind. Not that big of a concern, but it prevents him from getting that level advantage. And if Riven had been able to hit level 2 before Diana had, and it would have been a significant time before, it would have been like a minute before, then the Riven level 2 with the Alistar level 2 combo could have been unstoppable. But yeah. Jace, really nice play there.
Yeah, and there will actually be a little bit of time because you do have the harass coming in from Jinte. So the first 2-3 levels is going to be a little bit rough for Mandatory Cloud, but after that's cleared, it'll be fine. And that is a difficult skill shot sometimes to try and get out of the way of. Is a huge target once it actually lands. Naframu and Muffin Cutie, we've seen the Draven game 1 before. Huge damage going down. You got the exhaust. Nothing here going to get chunked out. Huge first blood once again for Naframu. Nothing.
Oh, the shield. And he's going to get it.
Actually chunk out J-Pack here. The auto attack is not going to be enough. Double kill to start things off for Naframu. Here we go again, everybody.
Yeah, and that's just absolutely brutal because Janna's shield works so well with Draven. 408 coming in. There's the rupture on the balls. They will try and take him down. The silence as well. I'm not sure they have enough, but they do. Balls with the ignite, the red buff. They take him down. Short Dog picks up the kill. Jace went down as well, though. The tower shots and the poison were just too great for him.
Yeah, and if you're going to be dove like that so early on, the best thing you can do is at least take somebody with you. And that was a lot of effort blown on the side of Normal Stars to actually get that Teemo kill in the first place. So it may become easier later on. We'll have to see. But at the very least, there's a kill for a kill there in the top lane. And he also got the assist. So Short Dog is going to have that to his credit. So he's going to be happy with that at least.
But now you're
seeing...
seeing...
He got the kill. He actually got the kill. Jace got the assist.
Yeah, Cho did get the kill with the red buff. Yep. But you're seeing the strength of this mid lane. They're actually swapping lanes because it's just too brutal. Because Mandatory Cloud, he was going to start shutting Diana out of that game. Because Diana, not only does Riven have the mobility to easily dodge that Q, which means that Diana's not going to get any harass damage because he can just, shield jump somewhere. But he also has the follow-up. Where Diana usually beats someone in melee range,
Riven wins almost every melee matchup. So he started zoning Diana. Jace, that'll be a much better matchup for them, and we'll see how Teemo does top versus Diana, but Alistar is top. He is waiting for Diana to peek out, and Xmithie, he's coming in for it, trying to pick him up. We'll be able to get him against the wall. The pulverize, the headbutt back, will not be able to pick it up. Jinte actually just barely getting over to the other side.
A little bit of a missed time too. Could have headbutted immediately, but you do see Xmithie, he did wait. He wanted to get the maximum amount of time for his credit.
It was the toss.
It was the toss.
It was Jinte. He used his little pull over to pull Alistar, and really, you know, I don't think Alistar was expecting it. He was like, oh, wow, that was clever.
That happened. Balls, a little bit harassed, a little bit of poison down to Jinte. Needs to evade that skill shot when it comes in. There is the flash, along with the pull. Ignite going down onto the little Teemo, and Short Dog is here to capitalize, and there's another kill on the Yordle down top lane. Aftermove still looking for a huge chunk, and it seems to be more abuse actually this time around than was game one. Nothing here, just got back to lane and already needs to back. You got Jace getting caught out in the mid. Xmithie is there with the pulverize. Headbutt backwards, gonna guarantee it that time. You got the weapon switch for a little bit more movement speed, just so Mandatory Cloud cannot close the gap.
Yeah, but he is low on mana, so it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for him to farm against Riven. But he should be pretty safe in that lane. He does have the range to sit back. But Ezreal and Nunu, it's interesting because you would expect Nunu to be able to shut down some of Draven's damage, but much of his damage is not tied to attack speed. It's tied to just getting a single auto hit. Like one hit with a Q just does so much damage. So as a result, Nunu can't shut down that damage. And Ezreal, you know, hasn't been very comfortable in that lane. The early double kill is just absolutely crushing. He has the Berserker Greaves to just be able to constantly chase down Ezreal and never allow him in this lane.
So now we've been in this game for a few more minutes, and we saw the lane swap coming on in from Normal Stars earlier. And I'm actually a little surprised that Mono has not lane switched in response to get the advantageous matchup that they had before.
I mean, they're fine with the matchup as is. They know that Teemo will be fine against Diana, will be able to control that top lane, and they know that Riven's going to be fine in the mid lane. So, you know, they already have a couple of advantages. They don't want to miss out on the experience. Sometimes if you switch at inappropriate times, you can miss out on some experience. But if you look, they actually have XP advantages in the mid lane still, so Mandatory Cloud will be fine there. And Teemo, despite being down against Diana, should be okay. But he does have to worry a little bit because that's a 2-level advantage. So we'll see whether or not Jinte can maybe try and abuse that against him.
And once Balls does hit level 6, then the Shrews.
Oh, they are chasing down Jace.
There's Jace getting the same spot as it was before. Headbutt backwards. You do have the gate to increase that movement speed, but there's a nice split coming in from Mono. There is the hammer and the throw away. You got the slow coming from Janet. Didn't make a visit down to the mid. Mandatory Cloud going to pick up the credit for that one. But after move, going down to the 3-man push pressure here in the bot. Short Dog making an appearance. So nothing here's got to be happy about that one.
That was a really nice job by Normal Stars to force it while they knew Nunu was up top because, or sorry, Janna was away, because Draven lacks that mobility. So you just rush on top of him and they're easily able to win that 2v1. So they're able to pick up that kill that allows Nothing here to get back into this lane. And he's actually, you know, he can try and pick up some of this farm and not fall behind Aftermoo like he has been. So we'll see, you know, how that allows him to get back into it. He should be fairly safe from now on. But so far, Short Dog's done a really nice job of moving around. He's been able to get some advantages for his team. He's doing pretty well himself, and we'll see what that show can continue to do.
Yep. There's still we also look a bit of gold here. Ezreal is still at about a 500 gold deficit in comparison to the Draven, so it's still, you can make up for some of it now, getting some farm in the lane. You have the lane to yourself. Janna's on her way back, so you got some time. You got plenty of time. And post lane swap, there's also a huge disparity in the mid. Also, Jace about 600 behind the Riven at this point, and it does translate into items. But here's the thing too, Riven Mandatory Cloud has not actually backed yet. So there's still a huge wallet, and Riven, especially when you get that farm, it can be a very dangerous thing. Like Bloodthirster first on Riven, you get that thing properly farmed, that is so much damage coming in.
Yeah, that is going to be interesting to see what he gets because, like you said, Bloodthirster is the most common item to start on Riven. Usually you start off with like some Dorans, get a little bit of HP so that you won't go down. I think he'll still probably start off with those Dorans.
Well, hey, when you're this far ahead, though.
Well, that's the question is which way is he going to go? Because the Dorans, it will allow him to be a little bit safer, not have to worry about getting instantly dying and, you know, have enough HP. However, if he does go with that BF sword early on
for the fast Bloodthirster, his damage output is going to be so insane that, if they're not pressuring him and taking advantage of his low HP, then he could really bully around Jace.
Yeah. And Teemo, you're starting things a little bit slow, but you're getting there. Starting off with just one ring, but you do have Diana starting off with the lucky pick, getting that GP10, going to continue with a consistent income there top lane. Eventually, it could also eventually be going into DFG also. You're going to be closing the gap. Might as well get some extra damage while you're in there. Pretty good item on Diana just for that extra burst. You also get the first GP10 there onto Cho, but Alistar, you got Smithy opting for those Move 5 boots, which we're actually seeing quite often now from a few junglers.
Yeah, and Alistar's no different since he wants that fast initiation, not going for any of those gold pretends or anything because he just wants to get those kills. He wants to roam around and help his team. So that's going to be kind of interesting. Now, all the lanes, though, if you kind of look at it, even though there's early advantages for Mono, Normal Stars is in an okay situation because bot lane is equalizing a little bit. Aftermost still has an advantage, but they're coming back some. Mid lane, despite the fact that Jace is just miles behind Mandatory Cloud, Jace has enough range that he should be able to farm. Like that's, hopefully he can turn that around, but he should be able to farm at this point fairly safely. Top lane, though, is going to be interesting because Teemo will win the harass battle against Diana, but Diana has that quick burst potential and the early level advantage from being mid a little bit. Mm-hmm. So we'll see if Jintei can maybe pick up some kills against Balls, or if Balls can hold it off.
Yeah, and the big problem with Teemo with Balls here in the early game is that once the jungle presence comes in, once Short Dog makes his presence there in the top lane, it's been a kill every single time he's been up there. But once you get the mushrooms, once you start getting your coverage up there, the gank opportunities become very low, like drastically low. Like if you try ganking a Teemo, it's not the easiest thing in the world. You just have it's just going across a minefield just to get to the lane. And then you have to connect with the kill with all these mushrooms right in your way. It's rough. It's very hard.
Oh, and did you check out his name? They're going to be tripping balls, man. Yeah, thank you.
That's a fist bump.
All right,
that's a fist bump for that one.
But I mean, Teemo later on. That's hey, he's Teemo Balls. Come on.
I love those comics too, like just him alone in the woods eating his own mushrooms.
He's like, oh god,
growing arms out of his back. God, I love those.
So many good spiders.
All spiders everywhere. Get them off me.
But we'll be able to see how Teemo can do coming forward. It's always exciting to see long forgotten champions.
Why do we not have like an Apocalypse Now Teemo?
Well, I wanted Full Metal Jacket Teemo. That was the one I had said. I had said a long time ago I wanted Full Metal Jacket Teemo, and for he would have a helmet. So I saw your old Teemo hat. And you would have a Teemo helmet that would have the peace sign and say
on duty or something.
No, what does it say in a Full Metal Jacket? I'm trying to remember.
I can't remember. Trying to remember obscure movie things during a pause. That is the true torture.
Yeah. Well, regardless, I wanted the Full Metal Jacket peace sign helmet with whatever the quote was on it. For Teemo, and he has like grenades and stuff like that, landmines. But I don't know. We'll see how this game progresses. Hopefully everything's okay with his internet. He had some issues last game, but kind of sorted them out.
Whenever someone like hits a mushroom or something, he'll just like cries like, "I've seen things, man. I've seen things."
You don't even know, man.
You don't even know. You weren't even there. I could imagine him saying that like as they're taking out Dragon or Baron or something. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, no, that would be nice.
There's so many ways you can go with this.
But we'll see what Normal Stars can do to keep themselves in this game because it is a 1K gold advantage right now for Mono. And it is. There are a couple more kills. There's a little bit more early skirmishes this game, and that's the kind of team Mono has. The previous game, they wanted to hold off and play defensively, or Mono wanted to hold off and play defensively for those mid-game fights. This game, Mono wants to be very aggressive early on and try and take big advantages early in their laning phases. So they have really strong lane matchups. So the key for Normal Stars is not to allow that to happen, but then also try and start getting people like Diana farmed where they can roam a little bit, try and pick up some kills and then win those early team fights. So if their team fight potential is very strong with Cho'Gath and Diana and Jace, and then Ezreal is very safe in the back as well.
Yeah, and Normal Stars, their team as a whole is actually like deceptively mobile. You do have the shift from Ezreal, and you got Jace with that fantastic move speed on everyone. You got Nunu with his Blood Boil. They can definitely get around. They can definitely start up.
Born to Kill. That was it.
Born to Kill. That's
Born to Kill on the helmet with the peace sign. That's what I want for the team. I had to get it.
What would be a suitable replacement that would be T for teen? Born
to Kill's fine. Teemo, Born to Kill. All right, what were you saying?
Or Born to Scout, or Born to.
Yeah, but then you don't have the commentary on the duality of man, sir.
Yes, but you could also avoid a lawsuit.
Yeah, well, perhaps. All right, so what were you saying before I jumped in again?
I forgot.
Okay.
It's gone. It's gone. No worries.
That's fine. But I don't know. We'll see. Balls hasn't really been very active about warding up top, so he did kind of fall behind from Short Dog. But they did see Short Dog down bottom, so he knew Cho was bottom for a second.
Yeah.
And he is almost going to hit 6. So once he hits 6, he can just throw shrooms everywhere, and he will be fine. And we'll see what kind of split pushing he can get. I am curious what his effect is expecting to be later on in fights. Because I didn't get a chance to see any of those games that have happened recently where people have been playing AP Teemo. And I know the map control is very strong for Teemo. Teemo is a very objective-oriented champion. Having those shrooms, you can just shut down Baron buff. You can shut down Dragon very easily and control fights for your team. Then the blind will be very strong as well. It's just a question of how much damage does Teemo have when you get into a fight with him if the shrooms aren't hitting, if the blind's not hitting? I'm assuming that Teemo still is going to just shroom in the middle of a fight. You guys will be dueling, and he's just like, yeah, I just dropped one right on the middle of your team. It's a big one too. You might not want to go in there for a while and see how that kind of factors in.
I didn't know there were porta potties in Summoner's Rift, man. That's dangerous.
It's Teemo. There's Teemo. It's outside.
He goes where he pleases. He's held the entire time.
But we'll see. I am really curious to see how Balls, how he's going to progress with his build and what kind of pressure he's going to put on. Teemo has always been kind of that joke pick, but it has happened a couple of times recently. So we'll be able to see what are some of the strengths and weaknesses to it later on.
Yeah, well, let's also go over to build too, because typically. What do you see out of AP Teemo? I know like Malady is.
I don't know. You don't see AP Teemo. I don't know what they build.
I know a few friends of mine like Malady's like a very big common item on him. Too.
That's not AP. That's an AD build. That's physical.
That's still AP on there. There's still some magic shred on that.
Well, the magic shred, yeah, but it's not really AP. I would imagine AP is going DFG first and foremost, Lich Bane as well for procs.
Yeah. But remember the poison too. Poison is a big part of his AP kit. Also, it's not just the mushrooms.
Yeah, I'm actually just going to go back for a second just to see how he's building. He does have 3 into his poison and 2 into his binding dart so far. So the blinding dart. So that will allow him to have really effective lane harass, but it also gives him a little bit of burst damage. So we'll see how he continues in the game.
Yeah, we'll see how he does. And in the meantime, we'll just keep the camera on Teemo as we go back into the pause, because I can't think of anyone else better to have this camera stuck on. Oh, wow, that's very convenient. Good timing.
All right, then.
Right back on into the game. Miraculously enough, as the unpause happens, we got JPack. He is now back.
Whenever I touch that, whenever there's a pause because someone's DC'd, I always touch the backspace, and magically they come back in at the right point in time.
Somehow it happens.
It's a gift.
It is a
but
gift.
Teemo is almost going down. Diana jumping onto him, does back off for a second, so Balls is safe.
But now he's 6. Now he's got the mushrooms. Now he's got that huge.
He's kind of struggling though. Diana is kind of pulling him around a little bit, and it's that early level advantage that he had when they did the lane swap. Like you said, you were asking, why didn't they swap back? And who knows? Maybe they needed to, but he seems to be okay so far. It's just kind of a dangerous situation.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how things go from here. Afremu still doing pretty good here in the bot lane. He does have the kill advantage. He's still doing very well. 2, 1, and 0. Only the 1 death this time. And the 1 death did happen a while back when Janna was off helping in the mid. Muffin Cutie with good instance on that to get the slow. and just to start collapsing there on the mid for the kills. Gente wandering down bot, looking for a kill. Balls did actually move down back to the mid. There was that lane swap, but Gente is right back there to follow up on it, and Jace actually following Riven's stride and going back to top lane to match the swap.
Oh, Short Dog has him, though. Mandatory Cloud's trying to get out of there. He doesn't actually go for it. He didn't realize that he was up there. He's clearing out the ward. They might have actually been able to pick up the kill there, but he will be safe. And it is interesting to me. You saw Gente with the dash from Diana. You actually cancel out the headbutt from Alistar. So you know that it works with flashes. Like we've seen when Alistar headbutts you, you can flash and just completely avoid it, and it doesn't do anything. But there, the dash, it actually went back to where Alistar already was, and then it was kind of a position swap. So that's actually interesting that Alistar can't get a good headbutt on Diana ever.
Interesting. Very interesting. But there you go, Xmithy with the Oracles. He's doing some ward clearing duty on his own. He's got a lot to clear too. 408 with some huge damage on the Mandatory Cloud, but Jace, he is out of mana. Riven does have the advantage. No mana on the Bunny Girl. Looking to farm right up front tower, and you can, absolutely. BF Sword gotten on the back, so we may be seeing that early bloodthirst come on in and maybe interrupting that recall from Jace, but no, will not be there in time. Gente swapped again in response, and then there's the end of our swap discussion. Swap and swap back immediately. Keep the positions where you are, keep that advantage, and make sure not to screw up the formula. Gente looking for a steal down onto the race, does put the ward down, but will not be there in time. Does get the remainder of them though, but the big one is the blue. You do want that one first.
The swap in this situation though, it gives Teemo a setup where Teemo has a shorter lane, so she can control the mid lane. Not have to worry so much about Diana diving her because she can just kind of retreat to the tower. It's not as long of a lane. But we'll see what kind of pressure happens there. Short Dog is still fighting them, but Xmithy trying to come in range, and Aftermoo actually getting the disable. There's the headbutt, and they will back off. Xmithy getting kind of low, but it allows Aftermoo to just continue winning that lane. And how much longer does Aftermoo actually have on that red buff?
That is a good question. We got a while. We got like 2 minutes still left on it. It's got plenty of time.
Yeah, and Alistar doesn't need it, so they actually go into the jungle and pick that up. So that's really strong for controlling that lane.
Jace, 408 on his own up here top and looking for the swap. Once again, Mandatory Cloud looking for the kill. Down onto Gente in the mid, the Ignite. It was going to be more than enough. Riven getting the kill credit on that, and here comes Balls looking for poison. Down onto Jace, but maybe regretting the decision. Is he still ignited? Can he get the damage? Can he actually stay alive? Will the minions actually take him out? No, one shot. We're good.
Yeah, plenty of damage there. So Balls is just kind of a... I don't know, he's a liability for their team right now, but the rest of the team is doing very well. They're able to pick up the Dragon as well. Teemu just kind of fell behind early and hasn't been able to quite get in the game, and he actually goes for the Giant's belt, so he wants to have enough HP to not die all the time. But we'll see. You know, they have a nice gold lead right now, and actually Aftermoo flashing in, gets the ultimate, the quick damage, almost picking up nothing here. If he had hit the retreating side, that would have been a kill.
That would have been nice. That would have been very nice. And how much damage does that do? Quite a bit. It's nearly 200 per pass on that ultimate. You got Short Dog looking for something on the Mandatory Cloud, but will not get there. But just instead taking out the ward, and 408 on Jace taking out the top tier 1 without a Yordle to stop him. He is free to take that tower and then back on off. And Gente just gonna stick it around in the mid, gonna see what he can do against Mandatory Cloud, and Balls still looking to farm. And yeah, no matter what setup Balls has, he's gonna be at a level disadvantage. He's gonna have to sit back, might as well stay in the top lane. Now that the tower's not there, the wave will naturally push back a little bit further. Should be a safer time for him. Not entirely, but slightly.
Yeah, it will allow him the chance to farm and try and get back into this game. Mandatory Cloud still abusing Gente once he comes back in that lane, and that is such a great matchup. He uses the ultimate, can't quite get the follow-up combo. He needs to get another cycle of his damage and maybe pick up the kill, but still it forces Diana back. Alistar is actually waiting for him. If Gente goes in for this, he could get the headbutt pulverized, but he just barely backs out of there, so he is going to be safe. Xmithy's kind of in a dangerous spot now.
He's in a very bad spot. Actually, Rupture will not be grabbing him. Don't be losing that Oracles. But here comes Buffy Cutie for interference. Gets a tornado. Gonna pop him up. Get the slope down on to the Jace. Clearing out the ward. Short Dog's right there. But you still have Alistar laying in wait. Just to see if there's an opportunity that makes itself open. Short Dog gonna be starting on that blue. Gonna pass it on off to Diana to make the best of mid. And Balls, here we go. He's got his time to farm. That wave is pushing up very far, so he should be catching up relatively soon. Aftermoo on his own, but only for now. Here comes Janna back on into the lane. Exhaust and the slow shift out run the Ezreal. Aftermove looking to get the stand aside. Here comes the True Shot Barrage. Nice flash out of the way from Mono.Ferus. And here comes the spinning axis. Can he actually get the kill on it to the Ezreal? There's the ignite, but here comes Diana for the kill, getting the kill down onto the Draven. Mono.Ferus has to run off that one.
Yeah, they actually almost, Ezreal almost could have won it himself. Draven, they were able to shut down a lot of his damage, but it was a risky situation. 1 or 2 more attacks and he would have gone down, and he had Diana for the follow-up, so he backed off for a second, but Short Dog's coming in. We'll be able to hit the Rupture. Mandatory Cloud juking it out. If he can survive through the feast here, it doesn't come out. It's actually down on cooldown, so Mandatory Cloud gets out of there, but just barely.
Lucky. He was lucky on that one that Cho'Gath used the feast
earlier. He dodged the Rupture. That's not lucky.
But still, though, there's still a flash available on Cho. He could have flash feasted.
His feast was down though.
If he had it up.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah. So you got, but with evading that, though, Mandatory Cloud will stay in the mid. He'll be continuing to look to farm, and 408 is attempting. After that attempt, he's low on mana. Does have to back. What's he gonna pick up while he's there? Does go for the Phage, looking for the Trinity build too. Ezreal's actually going for the Trinity Force also, so quite a bit of burst that could be coming out of the normal stars later on into the game.
Yeah, so that will be very nice for the early and mid game, but it also means that he's not going to have the same kind of damage output that Draven has. But it will allow him to poke some with Draven and exchange a little bit with Harass. So we'll see how that kind of factors in. Alistar roaming around still hasn't been able to find the successful ganks that you would like as Alistar. So his mobility boots haven't really been working for him. Mandatory Cloud gets the stun though. If Xmithie can get the follow-up, just not quite in range. Jinte is safe once again.
Even with those move 5 boots, it's still a little bit of a struggle for Xmithie to get in position for those assists on those kills, but still, it's fine. You're pushing Diana back. You got Jace back here in the top lane through the wall, getting the Harass onto balls as he's making his appearance back on in. Is still hitting a few mushrooms on the way back in, but the damage isn't quite just there yet for those shrooms. Soon, though, very soon.
He's lucky Jace didn't kill him. I think he could have jumped over the wall onto one of the minions to pick him up. He does get vision with the Q. He doesn't want to allow him to recall, but I thought he could maybe grab it if he had jumped over onto a minion and then used his mallet to pick up the kill there.
But the damage output from balls to try and stop that. Granted, yeah, he does have the blinding dart still, but it is still a huge amount of damage Jace can deal, especially as we saw earlier on in the laning phase. Balls has caught up a little bit.
What is Janna doing, though? Janna's coming in for a gank on Jace. He's not, like, okay.
All right.
He's just hanging out.
Meanwhile, Mandatory Cloud looking for damage on Jinte. Finish it off with, does not have the ult. Did he use it early? Yeah, just not quite there. Jinte very low, less than 100 health. Just couldn't do it. Mono.Ferus gonna be running into Jace, does get the slow and taking quite a bit of damage in return, but there is Alistar hammer back away, and Xmithie's gonna be out of there. I'm kind of concerned for Mono at this point now. It seems like the damage is falling off immensely.
Yeah, Normal Stars has done a really nice job in this game. They've been playing very safe. They have not allowed Mono to win these early lane matchups, and that was kind of the strength of Mono's team. So we'll see if they can continue to abuse them a little bit and use that double AD that they have with Ezreal and Jace to their advantage. And number one, put pressure onto Draven in this game. Teemo will help protect Draven a little bit along with the other supports they have. So it's almost like a triple support comp because Teemo's blind is going to help him out a little bit. But we'll see. They have a lot of single target damage, which is going to be a concern for Mono.
I'm also noticing that Xmithie, like just on his own, in comparison to Short Dog, is also falling off quite a bit. 2-level disadvantage. Granted, Alistar, he doesn't need a whole lot of items. He doesn't need a whole lot of experience. He's there for his pulverizer, his head, like the damage in. But still, though, that's when you fall down on experience like that, sometimes it's also means of a lack of income, which you need for other things like wards and such. He does have his 2 GP10s, but there's still quite a bit to catch up. You got the dragon being picked up there by Normal Stars. They're falling on back. And Mono's just a little bit too late to the party on that one. You do have an attempt though. Xmithie walking on back behind Jinte. Does get the headbutt and the pulverize. The Mandatory Cloud. Can he finish up with the kill? Does get it. Finishing on with the ultimate with Short Dogs there. Mana-less, cannot deflect this push.
Yeah, Alistar was actually able to get in range just in time to avoid that Diana from dodging the headbutt. Balls and 408 exchanging, but there's the Shroom. He's tripping out, man. He's going down. Balls gets it.
Wow, nice. Those Shrooms, man. That is the threat of the Shrooms. You got Aftermove camping out under tower, is exhausted. Nunu ult also Nice flash out from the Ezreal ult, but not going to be enough damage. You got to JPEG doing a very good job tanking that tower.
Yeah, making sure Ezreal doesn't take any of it, but Riven is here as well. Alistar tanking through the window there, but there's the exhaust, and actually the Monsoon keeping nothing here back into the base.
Nice.
And Mandatory Cloud doesn't really know which way to go. He gets the stun if he can get the quick kill. The Arcane Shift,
wow.
That was about the longest flash I've ever seen. He actually double flashed. He flashed an Arcane Shift to get over that wall.
Very well done. Very nice escape there. And especially the fact that you burned out an ultimate from Jenny. You burned out a flash from Riven. Very good job.
Yeah, Mandatory Cloud wasn't quite sure how to approach it because Ezreal would be able to flash over the wall. So he was hoping he could just get the quick kill. I think that Janna was actually trying to knock with that Monsoon into the tower. He wanted to knock him back, but just couldn't quite hit it. Yeah. So he was safe. But we'll see. It is a 1K gold advantage once again, or just 500.
Yeah, it's the gap is very. The gap is definitely closed over these past few minutes when you had Mono unable to capitalize on a lot of these kills, a lot of these champs out of position days. The damage wasn't there for a time, but now things are just very back and forth in this match, and we still haven't even really had like a full 5-on-5 fight yet. It's like we're hitting 20 minutes.
Well, and the teams, they're not designed to have those 5-on-5 fights. Jace is designed to split push. Teemo and Riven, they do best in those small, team fights. Riven, will be able to bully her way through the middle of a fight, but that's always kind of a concern for Riven. And actually, Ball's zoning off 408 now. Xmithy trying to get in range. The little movement speed is just not quite enough. He gets the flash.
Nice.
Just dodging that pulverize. Really nice job by 408.
Lots of close calls. Lots of close calls. This is a very just like on tight walk match here. Just small reactions like that, like a flash or a flash, are really going to be the difference here. You got the still ball coming down onto Aphromoo. Aphromoo throwing down the ult. He's going to be whiffing.
Can he dodge it?
He threw it before he entered the room. Action will not be getting anyone on the back of that. You got Diana jumping on and does pick up the kill onto Draven. Muffin-Q's got nowhere to go. The shield cannot protect you from all of that damage. Here comes the Q. We'll actually get away. Diana not choosing to
Riven's actually coming in from the side. Is he going to try and take
warded.
this?
Mandatory Cloud doesn't know. Nothing here.
It's a 3v1.
A little bit of a poke. And there, Mandatory Cloud will find him caught out underneath a dying tower very soon. But Muffin-Q decided to stay, throws down the shield onto him, but the damage from the minions is going to be a bit
too
much.
Going in on Ezreal. No.
Oh, just make a decision. There goes the tower. Mandatory Cloud cannot defend it.
If Mandatory Cloud had gone in 3v1 against them and taken it, that would have been incredible. He is actually jumping on Jinte. He picks up the first kill, and he's jumping on Ezreal as well. The Nunu ultimate will help shield him out. The Whirlwind, he's jumping back on Nothing Here, almost picks it up. Nothing Here barely gets that Arcane Shift out of there. That was really close.
That was, it's still 1-for-1. It's still 1-for-1 for Nut, so nothing hugely lost out of that one. And man, I wish Draven's ult was up, because that would have been hilarious to kill on Nothing Here. But alas, not the case. It's still a very even game. Now gold is swinging back into Normal Stars' favor. Not quite a K yet, but it's getting there. Ball's catching up big time here in the top lane. Now has a massive level lead over Jace. He's been 14 for a little bit. Jace just now dinging 13. So yeah, good on Balls to actually just stick it out, get that free farm on. And now 408 actually pretty much without mana, falling under the pressure of the poison.
Yeah, the realize, the slow on the realize there is definitely really big with the poison darts, and he's taking advantage of it. And it's actually interesting now that he has enough HP to survive through some of that damage. Once he has a couple of levels, he was behind earlier. Jace was able to bully him around. Diana was able to bully around. He now looks comfortable, and so he's able to split push, and that's the key. He needed to be strong enough to win the 1v1 matchups so that Teemo could split push that lane, because that's usually how you see Teemo played, is that split push in the top lane, and he's impossible to gank. There's the Haunting guys as well, not going for burst damage. He's all about winning those quick harass matchups.
And that is the big worry too about AP Teemo, is that where he really shines is the late game once he has all that damage. JPEG going to be split away from Nothing Here. Ezreal going to be falling back, recognizing that there's a ward. Cleared that thing. Good job. Thank you, Xmithy.
Oh, but Riven.
Diana and Riven just going to let it go. Jinte wants to farm up the jungle, wants to grab the wolves. Riven's going to let her. And let's just take a look at the continuing struggle between Jace and Teemo.
He hit another shroom. Balls could go in for this.
He could. There's the damage. There's the poison. More than enough. He actually didn't even get a fire back on that one. This is Balls is getting huge.
The perpetual slow is too much, and now Balls is in a situation where he can beat anyone 1v1, which means that entire side of the map is shut down. And that's what we used to see with Teemo. When Teemo was top lane, you would even try and gank Teemo. You'd try and 2v1 him, and Teemo would win.
Ooh.
Like, Teemo is just such a strong swift pusher. Teemo even wins the 1v2s.
Like Smithy dodging the Q from Jinte. There's still a ward to give a little bit of vision. Like, by the way, Diana's here. You may want to dodge that. Still taking turret damage. Balls, what are you doing? You're crazy. But this dragon is back up. Normal Stars is in position. They want to take this. There goes the tornadoes revving up from Muffin Cutie. Gonna keep everyone busy, and that is Smithy's Q to start making his way on in, and then changes lines on here. Is there with the damage. But can he get it? No. The feast from Cho'Gath will take care of the dragon, and we got our first big huge fight of the game. We got Raven Aftermove looking for front load all the damage with the ultimate, but Diana with everyone on the pole gets in there. Riven with the ultimate on the wave gets a few champions get the hit before right down up here, and the shutdown actually coming from Muppet Kitty. And here we got Mono looking to pile on the damage. Ezreal going down, Nunu going down, Diana now down. Huge fight for Mono.
Yeah, Mono's team, they are designed to fight 4v4s. They don't want 5v5s. They want Teemo to hold one of them off on the side, and that's Jace right now, so they can win those setups. Normal Stars almost were able to win that fight, though, because Jinte, he jumped into the middle of the team, and his AoE, his little pullback, it actually set up Cho'Gath and Ezreal for really nice AoE, and very quickly they were bursting down Mono, but then Mono was able to kite them. They have a very mobile team with Janna, and they were able to retreat and, you know, regroup for the second attack run in their, you know, attack formation. So really nice job there.
Mandatory Cloud back in the mid, looking to shove that lane. 408 back here top lane. There's another slow. Balls forcing the flash out from Jace as he's running away.
You can't lane against Teemo. Teemo's too strong.
Just can't do it. Balls is just free to farm here. Free gold, free experience, and pretty soon, you know, Teemo, he's halfway to 17. Once he gets 18, it's gonna be even more ridiculous. How much? Actually, I want to know how much poison damage does he do? He got the toxic shot. That's quite a bit. Mushrooms, how much are they doing right now? 768 magic damage over 4 seconds. That is how ridiculous AP Teemo can be. Well, and that number is only going to go up.
And he doesn't have a lot of AP. He has a decent amount of AP, but he went for the Haunting Guise for that magic pen, which means that he's doing, you know, almost true damage. He's doing, or he's able to eat through a lot of that magic resist anyway.
Yeah.
So that's very strong. And Cho'Gath, while he does have that movement speed and whatnot, I don't know that Cho'Gath is a strong enough ganker to shut down Teemo, which means that as long as Balls gets some nice vision in the top jungle, he can just continue to split push all game, and there's not a lot that Normal Stars can do about it except for winning the 4v4s and pushing on them. They need to, as a team, be able to win the rest of the map, and then all of a sudden Balls is like, well, guys, I can't help you. I have to just kind of sit up here.
Yeah. Well, Cho was a strong enough jungle to get those ganks. So we saw it happen, but now things have just gotten to the point of ridiculous, and that is no longer the case. 408 getting very low off of that exchange, and you know, Balls, he did manage to live with that one too, but that's fine. Gives them more time to just plant more shrooms and be that much more of a nuisance. Nothing here. Back, he's looking to defend the mid on his own. Diana's there for backup. Nunu gonna go back. What is he picking up? Just more wards. Gotta have that coverage. And you do now, we've gotten to the point where everyone's starting to farm up, get into those big name items. 2 Trinity Forces on the side of Normal Stars onto Jace and Ezreal. Diana's had that DFG for a bit, looking for the Death Cap next. And you also got that Frozen Heart on the Cho, which is not only going to do quite a bit against Draven, but when you have Teemo with all that poison coming in, that's going to really hurt his damage output also if he's in those fights.
Yeah, the slow and everything is just going to, you know, help shut down a lot of Aframu's damage if they can get back onto him, you know, and that pressure from Diana in those fights. But we'll see. They are starting to shroom up around Baron, so they're starting to take control of it. They recognize at this point in the game they have plenty of damage with Mandatory Cloud to take it, and they also don't want to allow Normal Stars to take it.
I think this is risky. Diana just being dodged. Nice jukes coming in from the cow.
Yeah, and we'll see if they start to pressure this. Mandatory Cloud going for the kill. 408 barely getting out, and they're in kind of a dangerous spot because you know, it's questionable whether or not Normal Stars is strong enough to fight them at this point.
It is a strange situation. Smithy finding out Short Dog does not get the pulverize there, and the Tri-Brush is silenced. We'll have to back off, but it's just killing more time for Teemo to plant more shrooms. And you know, and slowly those shrooms are going to start encroaching further and further on into Normal Stars' jungle. And as we mentioned before, the top section of the map for a while now, it just could not go there. And pretty soon, with enough true coverage, the jungle's going to be running the same way. Nothing here getting chunked out. Huge from Mandatory Cloud. Looking for the Draven. Oh, going to help pick up that one. Pull in from Diana. Going to keep Riven behind a little while longer. Rupture keeper popped up also, but 408 going to be cracking under pressure. Riven goes down. Jace, will you die? Xmithy with the auto tech landing that one. Janna ult. Just keep everyone safe. Pulverize looking to do more. Aftermove still staying alive somehow. The Janna ult keeping him up. Short Dog is exhausted. Will stay behind, but the Rupture. Aftermove sticking right in it, but is still alive. Xmithy in pursuit cannot keep the CC down. I can't believe Draven lived. That's a shock to me.
They were able to combo everything so beautifully as a team. The combo of Riven and then the Draven ultimate picking up the kill onto Ezreal before the fight even started. That was when the fight was won, really. But then Aphromoo, just the support from Alistar and Janna, they couldn't get to the back line. They couldn't, finish him off.
I think they're going to attempt a 3-man on the Baron. Xmithy taking out in front. Does he have his ult? He does not, so you have to trade off at some point. But
they have plenty of damage. Aphromoo is tearing away at Baron right now.
This is crazy. This is crazy damage. Ezreal ult will go down, but there's slight vision. So now Normal Stars does know that they cannot get there in time. Cho route in front. Not even going to bother with the Rupture. He hits a Shroom, falls on back, and just that one Shroom alone shaved off about 500 health from him when you factor in resistance.
Yeah, and now with those shrooms, they kind of can use them to decide where they're going to fight. So they shroom up the jungle, and then if they want to retreat, you just retreat through some shrooms. If you want to fight in the jungle, that's going to be to their advantage because of those shrooms. And it's going to make things difficult for Normal Stars to try and chase them down.
Balls is waiting. I want to see this. There's the blind. There's the poison. Jace can't even exchange off of this, but Balls may actually go down. Here's a poison too much.
Oh,
no.
the shroom.
The minions. Minions OP. Jace, you owe those minions a beer, man.
That was, he barely had it. It was the ignite. It was the ignite too. The ignite was a large part of that damage. But Teemo dropping a shroom. I didn't even see him drop it at first. It was just so sly, but he dropped it right on top of Jace. Gave him enough damage to pick that up.
You got the quick dragon pickup there, and then Mono looking for their next move. They can continue to push on up in the mid, start aiming for an inhib. They do have the Baron, they do have the regen, they have the damage from the buff also, where they can continue to push onto this. But Balti will be back shortly. You can rejoin with everyone on the rest of this push. And still though, for a long time, top lane is going to be no man's land for quite a while. Just all that shroom coverage. That's what Teemo does. Hey, he's got a lot of time on his hands.
Yeah, and he has so much MR reduction with the Haunting Guys and the Abyssal Scepter. And even with the range reduction on the Abyssal Scepter, Teemo's a pretty short-range champion. Yes, he's not going to be able to get it for the Shrooms, but it'll still help him out in team fights a little bit, and it gives him a little bit more survivability in those 1v1 situations. They are pretty deep in their builds. Same thing with Normal Stars, though. They're getting deeper and deeper into their builds, and it's a very slight advantage for Mono right now. And if Normal Stars can continue to hold off, Jace, as the game progresses, is going to be able to poke them down. Jace actually going for Triforce, which is kind of interesting because usually Jace, you see him go for the Bloodthirster. And I've had some talks with some people about that build choice, wondering kind of which way to go. With the Triforce, you're a little bit tankier. You have a little bit more melee damage, but the Bloodthirster gives you so much more poke. It gives you regen in lane, which is generally pretty stronger, and you're not really tanking enough.
Rupture going down onto Mono, and Aphromoo melts immediately. Balls just looking around away at this point. You got the Janna ult clearing everyone away, but Mandatory Cloud still wants to engage on this, looking for the kill on Diana, not going to be getting it. And the Short Dog, 408, going to be able to grab that, but Mandatory Cloud not without a fight, though. Diana does also go down. Xmithy is now finally here, looking for the CC, but Balls on the back line. Can he pick up anything on this? Pulverize getting all of the members of Normal Stars caught up. Xmithy out and back, though. Can he live? No, nothing here to pick up that one, but Jace melting under the poison. Muffy Cutie with more slows, keeping Nunu away. Double kill for the team.
He can go back in.
And Balls is looking to go back in. Can he make anything happen here?
Or not.
He could not. But still, though, it's a 3-for-3. It was a bit of an extended fight. But after going down immediately.
It looked really well for Normal Stars for a large portion there, but the Shrooms, if they start getting Shrooms in the lane, you saw how devastating they were for Ezreal to go down. But they were able to keep their distance and, pull Riven out of position. That's kind of the issue with Riven, is if you can kite her or burst her down as a team, since she's such a forward champion. But we'll see. Did he just buy that Guardian Angel, or did he already have it in the previous fight? I thought he just bought it. Okay, so that's going to be very strong. Once you get the GA on Riven, you get to be that much more aggressive, not have to worry about going down as quickly, since Riven is pretty squishy. But we'll see. They were able to hold off that fight for the most part, but Teemo was able to pull it around in the end.
Yeah, so I think just a few gold short. If he sells that ring, he should be able to get a needlessly large rod. Actually, go for the lucky pick. So Teemo building into DFG next. Not too far off of it. It's just waiting for a second. You should actually, I think he may actually have the gold for it right now. He just needs a few more creeps, and he'll be able to go back and just buy it straight out.
Yeah, and the DFG is actually going to give him a little bit more damage in team fights. Since he doesn't have a lot of nukes, it gives him another nuke to tack on. But it's interesting that he held off on it so long in this build, because early on, the DFG, he didn't want the DFG. He wanted to be able to win the 1v1 exchanges. And DFG, it would give him a little bit more burst, but once the DFG is down, it would give him absolutely nothing to win those exchanges. So it's actually, it would have been kind of a weaker item early on, which is, it seems like might be the key here. The fact that he goes with those strong harass items, those strong, small little poke items that really help his poison damage in lane.
And not to mention that right now, though, all of Normal Stars are really starting to tank up. Jace, he's over 3K. Short Dog, he's over 3K. So the percentage-based damage is going to help out immensely. You got the headbutt full place though. On it to Jace, Tornado, keep it popped up just for a little more. Mandatory Cloud right out in front. He's got the GA. He's got a lot less to worry about. Teemo looking to get into this fight, and there's Tornado keeping Jace behind just a little bit longer. Will he be able to go down here? Headbutt away after a move, getting the kill down onto Jace. That is a one quick kill here for Mono.Ferus, continuing on with the push, waiting for the minions to catch up. And Mandatory Cloud just push straight up and taking the turret. Clearing time for Aftermoon to actually get a few free shots on it.
And that previous fight, Aftermoon was playing so defensively. He didn't want to allow Diana to jump in on him, so he would get kind of his attacks when he could, but he was playing really on the back line. He was being very safe because it's so easy to run out of position as Draven. So really nice positioning from Aftermoon, never giving them an opportunity to engage.
Rupture only going to Muffin Q. He's not going to bother using the feast ranking just quite yet. Still looking to defend Aftermoon with free shots. Down onto the show, brings them down to about 2/3 health, and that minion wave has cleared out. Gotta wait for the next one. Jace still has 10 seconds before he actually comes back into this fight, but meanwhile, bot tier 2 is open. Mandatory Cloud leading the charge, should be able to take that one pretty easy before Normal Stars can come and defend it.
Yeah, Aftermoo as well is going to be able to drop that fairly quickly. But the key for Normal Stars is trying to perturb Aftermoo. Alistar, he throws up the Shurellias. Nothing here is caught out, drops instantly.
Away from the rest of the team, falls, just melts to the pressure, and that allows them to continue the push that they've been doing this entire time. More minions as they're pushing on in. Now they have an option. Now they can split push. They can choose bot. They can choose mid, whichever one is less defended. Jinte with Q's over the wall. Does get vision of balls, but Aftermoon right out in front looking to shut down this turret. Huge. Rupture going down on Aftermoon. Will he go down like he did last time? There's the Janna ult to keep everyone away. He could have been feasted. He could have been down immediately in that one. And running interference. They caught Riven on the back line. Jay back out in front. Look for snowballs down onto Teemo. A little bit damage from Jace also too, but no deaths here. Aftermoon managing to get away from that one.
Yeah, they have to retreat for a second, allow him to heal up because he is getting kind of low. And the key is Mandatory Cloud was able to zone them off, because if Normal Stars can get into Aftermoo, not only is he already going to miss out on a lot of damage because he has to constantly run away from them. He can't stand still to auto attack. But if they take him down, that could be a one fight for Normal Stars. But there is no one in position. They're getting this Baron very quickly, very safely. Normal Stars isn't even trying to contest it. They're concerned. They're going to run into a bunch of shrooms. They're coming actually now, but it's a little bit too late.
Jace with some shots, but they see the Teemo, they see the buff, and they realize that they're tad too shy. You got the Rupture going down. Nice placement. Going to keep it smoothly popped up and occupied. Muffin Q taking huge damage by the Q, but that regen allows Mono to not have to back. After this, you got Mandatory Cloud with the flash and the stun. Jinte goes straight for the backfire. Wants to kill someone, but will not get the opportunity. And there's the GA proc. There's a moment for Mono to get another straight kill, waiting for the Riven to revive. Still has the ult proc. Can use it. You got more shields coming on in, but J-Mac will also fall. Aftermoo, quick burst. Gonna get the kill. Double kill onto Ezreal, and Short Dark's the only one left up. Rupture not gonna be grabbing anyone, and just needs to get back to Fountain. A race for him. Just completely ignored really for that last fight. The mid tier 3 going down, followed by the inhibitor.
I think they have the Nexus. I think they have time.
I think they do. It's too much time. The death timers are too high. A good 30 seconds until the rest of the team comes back up. It's only a Cho'Gath. He can't do enough damage to delay this, and Mono can just straight out tank it. It's not that big of a deal. Teemo's got it. Don't worry about it. The last Nexus turret going to be going down in a second. Don't make Muffin Cutie take the entire thing, guys, please.
Yeah, so they will be able to take this, a really nice 2-0 series for Mono. Holding off for a second. I think they want to get their last kills. This is something we saw with V8 with Aphromoo, is that he always waited until the end. He wanted to get the fountain kills. Like, that was always really important for him. They're just chilling.
Could have just, if they all die here and this extends for another 4 minutes, I'm going to be very angry at these guys.
Oh, they're holding back. They're not going to get it. They're holding back.
You could have just cleared up the Go Train and Muppet Kitty, forced to use the ult that you were one. There goes the Cho'Gath, now finally down. You get the acceleration here from Jace. And is Mono going to be cleaned up here? Say it ain't. You could have had this. You could have just gotten that kill.
Last fight is best fight. You always have to go for it. It's that the sweet taste of the post-victory fight that it calls to you. They can't deny her sweet allure. She is a beautiful temptress.
They can't resist the throw.
They can't. Well, it's not going to be a throw. They're so far ahead. They're going to push back up and kill the Nexus. But it was just too seductive. They wanted to win one last fight in order to win the game. So they hold off for a second.
They wanted us. They wanted to help us keep our viewers for another 5 more minutes.
Oh well, that's sweet of them. But we'll see them push back.
Sweet, slightly annoying, but sweet.
Yeah, but I love what Mono's doing, and it's. You stay unbiased, you root for everyone. There's the surrender. They're not going to allow Mono to even push. But Mono, some of the things that they are doing as a team are really fun to watch because they are pulling out really cool new strategies. They are just being, very aggressive through all facets of the game. They're exciting players. They're fun to watch. Their stream and everything. And I don't know. It's just a joy to watch them play. So we'll see how they continue forward. But hey, Teemo, he started off poorly, but balls, he came back. He was in at the very end. Like, he was definitely a major part of that game, being able to completely shut down that top lane.
Yeah, and AP Teemo, it is a rough start.